Cebu, the Queen City of the South, a province in the Philippines that is located to the east of Negros to the west of Leyte and Bohol Islands. Cebu has natural resources as well as historical sites that reflect its cosmopolitan past, from the birth of Christianity in Asia to the early commercial trade with Mexico and China to vestiges of the American colonization of the Philippines. And now, let's travel and see the Cebu's beautiful and historical sites that were preserved until today. First stop, Cebu City. Basilica del Santo Niño is a 16th century church in Cebu City. It was built on the exact spot where the image of the Santo Niño, a sculpture depicting the Holy Child Jesus, was founded by Spanish explorers in 1565, preserved in a burnt wooden box which was left behind during the 1521 Magellan expedition. The Church of Santo Niño de Cebu was founded by an Augustinian priest, André de Ordaneta, on April 28, 1565. The first church structure was built out of earth, hardwood, and nipa in 1566, ordered by Friar Diego de Herrera. In 1735, Fernando Valdez y Tamon, the governor of Cebu, ordered the church to be constructed of hard stone, which was built in the same spot where the previous church stood. Construction was completed in 1739. In 1965, during the 4th centenary of the Christianization of the Philippines, Pope Paul VI elevated the church to rank of minor basilica. The basilica remains under the care of the Order of St. Augustine. Magellan's Cross is a Christian cross planted by Portuguese and Spanish explorers as ordered by Ferdinand Magellan upon arriving in Cebu in the Philippines on April 21, 1521. This cross is housed in a chapel next to the Basilica del Santo Niño on Magallanes Street, just in front of the City Hall of Cebu City. A sign below the cross describes the original cross is encased inside the wooden cross that is found in the center of the chapel. This is to protect the original cross from people who chipped away parts of the cross for souvenir purposes, or in the belief that the cross possesses miraculous powers. Some people, however, believe that the original cross had been destroyed or had disappeared after Magellan's death, and the cross is a replica that was planted there by the Spaniards after they successfully colonized the Philippines. The Santo Niño Friday Novena and Mass devotees keep increasing over the years and could easily fill the basilica beyond its capacity. To accommodate this growing number of devotees who come to hear Mass in the basilica, a pilgrim center was built within the church compound opposite of the basilica, and Holy Mass is celebrated on Fridays, and other religious festivities are held here in the open-air theater-like structure. Cebu Metropolitan Cathedral is the ecclesiastical seat of the Metropolitan Archdiocese of Cebu. The architecture of the church is typical with Baroque colonial churches in the country, squat, cruciform, and with thick walls to withstand typhoon and other natural calamities. Because of damage caused by World War II and the recent renovation, nothing of the historical interior remains. However, the exterior remains in the 18th century. The trefoil-shaped pediment is decorated with carved reliefs of floral motifs, an IHS inscription, and a pair of griffins. The Spanish royal coat of arms is emblazoned in low relief above the main entrance, owing perhaps to the contribution of the Spanish monarch to its construction. Much of the cathedral was destroyed by Allied bombings in World War II, with only the belfry, the facade, and the walls remaining. It was quickly rebuilt in the 1950s under the supervision of architect Jose Zaragoza during the incumbency of Archbishop Gabriel Reyes. Fort San Pedro is the smallest, oldest triangular bastion fort in the country. It was built in 1738 to repel Muslim raiders and serve as a stronghold for the Filipino revolutionaries. This served as a nucleus of the first Spanish settlement in the Philippines. It has a total inside area of 22,025 square meters. The walls are 20 feet high, 8 feet thick, and the towers are 30 feet high from the ground level. Work first started on May 8, 1565 with Miguel Lopez de Legazpi breaking the ground. After the Battle of Manila Bay, Commodore George Dewitt turned the fort to the local Cebuanos. Then it became an American Warwick barracks during the American regime, which was later converted into classrooms where the Cebuanos received formal education. During World War II from 1941 to 1945, it served as fortification for Japanese soldiers when the battle for liberation was fought. The fort served as an army camp. After 1950, Cebu Garden Club took over and fixed the inner court into a miniature garden. For a couple of years, it also housed the Cebu City Zoo. In 1978 to August 15, 1993, it housed the offices of the Department of Tourism and Philippine Tourism Authority. At present, it is under the care and administration of the National Museum, a historical park. And now, we're going to Karkar, Cebu. Found in Karkar, Cebu, is the Church of Saint Catherine of Alexandria. The church is already 124 years old and is among the great wonder and treasure of the town. Father Antonio Maglano became the parish priest of Karkar on October 16, 1858. He began the construction of the present-day church a year later. The construction lasted for 6 years, since it was left unfinished by the succeeding fires. At that time, St. Catherine's already had 3 naves. The style was patterned after the Mojedar in Spain, comprising of 2 bells with an onion-shaped tip. 9 years later, Father Manuel Rubio Fernandez from Asturias, Spain, became the parish priest and continued the construction, which was finished after 2 years. Be fascinated with the great number of well-preserved century-old houses in the town poblations, obviously built during the Spanish colonizing years. The Heritage Street in Karkar boasts of a dozen of these Bahay-Natisa houses, which are generally made of stones mined within nearby areas. And now, let's travel to Argao, Cebu. Argao became a parish in 1703, which prompted the construction of a beautiful Rococo Baroque structure in 1734, and was completed in 1788. The church was renovated for its bicentennial celebration in 1988. Despite some renovations and modernizations done to it, the St. Michael Archangel Parish still remains one of the richly furnished churches in the south. The Argao's Church Plaza is considered as one of the most beautiful best-kept plazas in the Visayas. It features 3 authentic steel functional lanes Spanish to early American period cannons and has a Spanish period community well. Found around in the plaza is the Casa Real and the Executive and Legislative buildings, and also the Hall of Justice.